Greenwald joins us tonight. So I think before it slips from collective memory, we should just restate once again that you, a liberal, were denounced as a Russian agent by other liberals. What was that like?
It was exactly what you would expect it to be. And I mean, it wasn't just Howard Dean. It was continuously on MSNBC, which, let me just say, should have their top host on prime time go before the cameras and hang their head in shame and apologize for lying to people for 3 straight years, exploiting their fears to great profit. These are people who were on the verge of losing their jobs. That whole network was about to collapse. This whole scam saved them. And not only did they constantly feed people for 3 straight years total disinformation, they did it on purpose, Tucker. And the proof of that is that, unlike you, who has been criticized in a lot of different ways by the left, some of which I agree with and we've talked about before, the first time I ever watched your show, you had on Adam Schiff, the leading Democrat, to talk about, on your set for 12 straight minutes, collusion, so that your audience could hear the other side of the story. MSNBC did the exact opposite. There was a whole slew, not just me, of left-wing journalists with very high journalistic credentials, far more than anyone on that network, like Matt Taibbi and Jeremy Scahill and many others, including myself, who were banned from the network because they wanted their audience not to know that anybody was questioning or expressing skepticism about the lies and the scam they were selling because it was so profitable. They did it on purpose. It was a total fraud that they perpetrated on their audience. And to the extent that they talked about it at all, it was to call us agents of the Russian government, to defame us as traitors, and to lie about us continuously to their audience. And there's still no accountability. They still won't put us on their airwaves. They still won't apologize. And they're still lying to their audience. They don't want their audience to know what they did to them for 3 straight years on purpose.
It's unbelievable when you put it that way. One of the things that you've been, I think, particularly acute on, and virtually nobody else has said this, is that those channels, both MSNBC and CNN, have hired and promoted a series of retired intel officials, Jim Comey, John Brennan, and they come on and they basically parrot a certain set of talking points, but with the imprimatur of the agencies they once ran. What effect does this have, would you say, in American society?
It is completely corrupted journalism. The whole point of what we were supposed to learn from the debacle of WMDs in the Iraq War, which, by the way, this network that we're on was one of the leaders of, was the fact that we were not supposed to trust intelligence agencies when they say things without evidence. And not only did MSNBC and CNN use those people as their sources, they hired them as their news analysts. So if you turned on CNN or MSNBC, it was basically state TV. It was CIA TV. 3 weeks ago, Tucker, 3 weeks ago, John Brennan was on MSNBC, and he said that he strongly believes that Robert Mueller is going to indict members of the Trump family either before or after March 15th because he's too noble to use the Ides of March for having conspired with Russia. They kept all dissent off the air. They turned themselves only into the spokespeople of the people they're supposed to be investigating and scrutinizing, which is the intelligence community and the military officials who now are their colleagues, who now report the news. You have government officials who spent their whole careers in the Pentagon and in the CIA. They're disinformation agents who now work at CNN and MSNBC shaping what their news is. And that's why these channels turned into disinformation campaigns, because those are the people that they hired, the people they're supposed to be serving as watchdogs over, the people who are neocons, the people who lied the country into war through WMDs. Not only did they have no accountability, they got rewarded by becoming the stewards of these networks. And they lied to millions of people for 3 straight years, and huge amounts of accountability is needed.
So in the last minute we have, make me feel better. I'm thinking that there will be no repercussions and that this cycle of deceit and disaster will continue. Do you disagree? Do you think anyone will be held accountable for this hoax?
I mean, in one way, they can't have accountability because Rachel Maddow gets $10 million a year. She's a huge corporate brand, and she's a big celebrity among liberals, so they're going to keep her on the air. But I think that they went so far overboard in deceiving and lying to people for so long. I watched Ken Delaney and the NBC reporter, who's basically the CIA spokesman, on Twitter say, look, this is the end of the game. Trump won. There's no collusion. And huge numbers of people on Twitter that follow NBC were genuinely confused. They were saying, wait a minute, you were telling us for 3 years all of this was a given, that it was a slam dunk, that it was just a matter of time when it would happen. I think they've completely lost credibility and faith, even among their own followers, who are now confused and disoriented, and they deserve all the scorn and all the loss of faith and credibility that they're going to get. They're the reason why people don't trust journalism.
Exactly. Glenn Greenwald, you are one of the people who was vindicated by this. So congratulations for doing your job as you're supposed to be doing it. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tucker.